friends, and welcome back to Beloved Reviews. If you're new here on this channel, I share with you delightful, family-friendly, and faith-based movies and television shows. Welcome back, y'all, and happy Sunday. Did this weekend fly by to y'all? I don't know, it kind of did to me, probably because like we just hung out yesterday, and I don't know, maybe because I missed so many days. I don't know, but it definitely flew by, and it just goes by too fast for me. Anyways, yes, y'all let me know in the comments how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, what are you streaming, what are you watching, what are you talking about, what are you expecting, because there's quite a few films that are going to be premiering in theaters and coming out on streaming services. So y'all let me know, what are y'all up to, what are y'all into, and what do you would love to discuss and talk about, okay? I don't want to be the only one here. I don't want to be the only one here, but I just wanted to put it out there. Let me know, okay? All of that. We're not going to waste any more time. I don't want to take up much of y'all's time. I feel like every time I say that, I kind of do. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our special feature today, which is titled Guiding Emily. And you can find this film streaming right now on Hallmark Plus. But first, let me tell y'all what this film is about. Emily's life changes forever after she loses her eyesight, while a guide dog struggles with training. Through a series of misencounters, both overcome obstacles and find each other. Now, friends, this film was so sweet, beautiful, so beautiful. I mean, we are used to Hallmark films in the past. They've been doing a lot better, especially the past years or so, and even recently, but we're so used to like almost like the cookie cutter happily ever after, which I totally do love. I'm not gonna front. I do love me some happily ever afters, but I do understand that we live in a real world, and a lot of times life doesn't always go that way. It doesn't always turn out in the way that we plan or thought and all of that. So yeah, people like me do escape to the movies to try to see what we want to see and all of that, to keep our hopes up and everything. But like I said, Hallmark has been getting very good about this, being a little bit more realistic, even at the same time being very careful with our hearts. They're holding it in the palm of their hands here. They're making sure, okay, I'm gonna be gentle with you, but I'm also gonna let you know there is a bit of truth that does exist, but at the same time I'm still gonna protect your heart. And I felt like that's what happened here in this film. Like I said, this is such a beautiful film. I feel like it is one of those kind of films. It's tough, it's challenging, I'm gonna say that, so you know what to expect going into this thing. It is challenging when certain things happen in life. It's very, very realistic and all of that. You're gonna shed some tears, so I have you some Kleenex, paper towel, or whatever you feel most comfortable with. If you like me and you just so sensitive and everything like that, trust me, you're gonna need that by your bedside and all of that. But I promise you, you're going to have that sweet, delightful ending. You're gonna feel safe. You're gonna feel like, okay, God, yes, I know this was tough, but oh, it was okay. In the end, it's okay. And sometimes that's how life is. It can be tough, it can be challenging, but you need someone there beside you that God sends in your life that's holding your hand, saying it's gonna be okay. I don't know what's around in this corner. I don't know how this thing is going to turn out, but it's going to be okay. And sometimes that okay goes a long way. Sometimes that's all we got to hold on to, is to know, okay, God, I know it hurts right now. I don't understand everything, but it's going to be okay. And so here we meet Emily. Such a sweetheart. She is an adventurer. She loves the outside. She rock climb. I'm about to say rock climbing. Is that the word? Okay, yeah, she does rock climbing and different things. So she's very athletic. She's very like I said, she's an adventurer. She's very independent. So she's used to that. She's used to doing her own thing and just going for it. She's a go-getter. She's an overachiever, at least to me. I don't find nothing wrong with that. I feel like you have to be that way in life. Well, it's a good thing to be that way in life. I don't say you have to be. I mean, be who you are and everything. But I do enjoy seeing characters or even people like that, who are go-getters, who are overachievers, who don't like just curl over and roll up in a ball when tough things happen. They like, no, this is tough, but I'm going to be tougher. And so this is the whole vibe that you get from Emily at the very beginning of this film. She's in a relationship. They are like engaged. So you're seeing, at least you're thinking, you're painting this picture in your mind. Of course, we don't know all the details because it is the beginning of the film, but come on now, you know, we our mind go places. We start painting their backstory, how they got here, everything else like that. At least that's where my mind went. But it was something about him that I just didn't, I don't know. My heart wasn't melting when we're first introduced to her fiance here. And not because he did anything, not because he's a bad guy, because at the beginning we don't really know much about him. We just know that clearly he's good enough to take that next step. So that's really all that we know. But one of the hearts that I connected to at the very beginning of this film is, I believe his name is Mark. Is it? I don't know. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But he is the one that deals with the guide dogs and stuff like that. Like works for this organization that put them in homes so they can be trained. Him, my heart kind of went out more to, and it's probably because he's so good with animals, and you could tell he has a heart for getting these puppies trained, placing them in a good environment, in a good home, and hopefully to one day adopt them out to someone who really truly does need their help and assistance as going through life. And so I guess just seeing that he's a part of that world, my heart was kind of like moved towards him. And I kind of wanted him to be with the main character, Emily. She see me trying to put somebody together, even though I already know she whatever doing her thing. But yeah, so that's where we meet Emily at. And you can, like I said, you're connected with her immediately. I love her mom here. Her mom is super, super sweet, gentle, patient, kind, the kind of mother you would expect a mom to be. And you just love and adore her mom, especially when certain things start to take place in this film that Emily didn't expect. Her mom does step up to the plate and just truly does show that she's an amazing mom, more than amazing mom, but an amazing person. So like I said, Emily is doing her thing, rock climbing, but her fiance is not so much on that type of thing as her. He seems to be a little bit more fearful when it comes to rock climbing because they start indoors. Y'all know them indoor facilities that have that kind of thing that you can practice on before you get to the real thing, I guess. Child, I don't know, but it does seem interesting. It seemed fun. I wouldn't mind doing the whole indoor obstacle course thing that they have. I wouldn't mind doing that because it's something different for me, and I like to try different things that are kind of far away from my personality and the way that I do things. Like I'm more of a laid back and chill kind of person. I'm more of I like you see on this channel. I love movies, television shows. I'm more of that, Netflix and chill, that type of thing. And I'm perfectly fine being indoors and all of that. And if I am outdoors, I'm going back indoors at some point. Like I'm going back into the movie theater or like in a restaurant or something more that type of thing. I'm not the sports kind of person or something like that. But I will say now, because I know that that's not really my thing, I wouldn't mind trying it. I wouldn't mind, like, it would take like the right person. I would say that, you know, if you have like a cool best friend or something like that, that's what they're into, that's what they love, I'll be right beside you. You would think that that's my thing too. Because I'm just that kind of friend, I'm just that kind of person. And I do enjoy trying different things. Like, it would be fun. I probably know that I would probably fail at it in a sense of it would take me a while to overcome the things, but I have fun overcoming it because it would be fun. And so that's how Emily is, what her fiance here is, in a sense of like rock climbing is not his thing. She's the outside person, not necessarily him, but he is attempting to try this thing for her, and she's coaching them through indoors, but you can tell it's not working. And so they try one day to do it outside. They're gonna do we're gonna do the real thing here. And Emily points out a couple of spots that she feels like is a little bit more appropriate based on his skills, his skill set. She pointed out some different things, and then there was one particular place, an area that she felt like that was a little too much for him. But that was the area that he chose. He was like, no, he can do this. Like, come on. And of course, her being the kind of person she is, she's an overachiever. She's not the type that's gonna hold you back and tell you you can't do this, because that's not how she moves, and she won't want nobody telling her what she can't do. So I understand her, like, okay, do you think you can try this? I'm right here for you. That's your fiance, that's your best friend here. I get it. And so you're thinking, you're at this point of the film, you're kind of chill. You're like, okay, let's see what homeboy got. What you gonna do today, buddy? What you gonna do? And you're all in a good place. You're smiling, your cheeks are up, at least mine are, like right now. And as he starts to climb, he's doing a pretty good job. He's getting a few steps. He's starting to get up there. She's at the bottom looking up at him. She's like, okay, you're doing good. All right, I see you can handle it. So I'm right behind you. And soon as she says that, he kind of slips a little bit, but he catches himself. But this rock falls underneath him, and Emily is underneath him. And it hits her, and you just like, your heart is like slamming against your chest. I'm like, no, what's gonna happen here? You know, you want Emily to be okay. And then next thing we know, Emily is waking up in a hospital. Don't necessarily know what has happened to her, but her eyes are covered. And her family is there, at least her mom is there, her fiance is there. The doctor shows up, and she's kind of freaking out because she wakes up and she can't see anything. But at the same time, it's not so disturbing because her eyes are covered here anyway. So you're thinking that maybe that can be the issue. And you can imagine, I mean, I'm not a hospital type of person. I don't think anybody is, as far as, you know, that's the place that you want to be spending your time. So you waking up into a place like that, and I'm sure you smelling those hospital smells and all of that types of stuff, and you're there and you're kind of disoriented. You don't know what has happened to you. The last thing you remember when you start to try to think about it, and you're trying hard, probably feeling little cramps and stuff in your forehead, trying to remember what exactly has happened. And then it comes back to you what has happened. And you're thinking, okay, you're going to be all right. You're not thinking much of it. You're still you. And in this moment, Emily does learn that, yeah, the accident, it has happened and it has affected your eyesight. But it can be, most likely, we're thinking it's a temporary thing. Just give it a few weeks. Keep your eyes covered. You're going to have to wear this to protect your eyes. But it's going to be okay. And Emily is like, she freaks out slightly, but she's okay. Mom's there holding her hand. Fiance is there letting her know it's going to be all right. And when she finally is discharged from the hospital, and I love this conversation and this very vulnerable moment for me that she has with her mom and fiance. And she knows that, especially mom, is worried. This is her baby girl, and you're not used to this. Everybody is a little kind of off here. You want to be supportive and strong for this individual who right now her eyes are covered. She's not seeing anything. But at the same time, you're human. You're probably feeling certain things. You're probably having thoughts of, what if this lasts a little bit longer? What if it's permanent? What if, you know, we go through the whole what if game, and trust me, it's a terrible game to play because your mind just can go so far, and y'all know, y'all probably been there, okay? But anyway, we moving on. And so, like I said, this vulnerable moment that they share, and Emily muscles up the strength, and I love that about her. That's why I just love this character so much. She muscles up the strength to say and give, like, instead of them being the ones that comfort her, wrap her up and hold her close, like, you know, baby her up a little bit, she is the one in this moment that says, it's gonna be okay. Like, I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna make this work somehow. It's gonna be all right. And she's determined. You can see it in her facial expressions. You can see it in the way that her gestures, her movement. Like, she is ready to do whatever it takes to get through this. This is going to be something that she overcomes. Yes, it was unexpected, but it's gonna be all right. And she convinces herself this. She says it out loud. That seals the deal. You opening your mouth and you speaking what is in your heart, because we know out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So I love that she declared that over her life, because you have the final say so in a sense. As far as your word is more powerful than any other human being. It don't matter what another person says, feel like you're gonna fail or have these doubts or whatever about you. You are going to believe more what you say, what you hear you say, as opposed to someone else, because you're with yourself 24/7. We are inside of ourselves. We hear those thoughts in our head, and we have the power to change those thoughts. And so I love that Emily did this in this moment. And I felt, because how sure she was, I felt like, okay, all right, I could breathe a little bit. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm right there with her. And then we start to see little by little that this is taking a lot longer than what any of them expected. Emily, I felt like, was waking up every day thinking that maybe she'll start to see little by little, maybe a little blur, a little glimmer of light here or there, something like that. And then we start to see it. Well, she starts to see that it's not happening. And when she is taken back to the hospital for the doctor to remove the covering over her eyes, she's excited, she's full of hope, she's thinking, okay, this is the moment here. I've done all the things that the doctor told me to do. I've been praying about this thing. I'm believing God for this thing. This is my day. This is my time now, okay? It's gonna be all right. And then when that covering is moved from her eyes, and the doctor's like, well, don't freak out, just give it a minute, give it a second here. And she shines the light in her eyes and say, can you see this or whatever? And Emily is starting to freak out in that moment. She's like, I'm not seeing nothing, Mom. I'm not seeing anything around, and it's just like, oh, goodness. In that moment, that's where I felt like my heart was breaking into a million pieces over and over again, because it reminded me of certain things that we all go through in our lives, that when we're believing God for something and we're standing on his word, we've been prayer about something, and we're convinced at some point that this thing is going to work, it's going to happen. God, it has to work. I believe it so much that it has to come to pass. And then when it doesn't go the way that you thought it should go, but in the end, it is okay, because we know that God works all things together for our good, for those who love him and call according to his purpose, right? And so we know that in the end, it's going to be okay, because he's going to work it out. But because it didn't go the way that we thought it would, or the way that we thought it should, that's when that heartbreak comes in, and you're like, what happened? What did I miss, God? Why? That's when all that stuff is coming in. And that's what I felt right here when Emily had this moment. This is the first time in this film since this accident has happened that she truly broke down. Like, you can just see it. You felt it so much. That's why I said you need your Kleenex, okay? Because we all been there. We know what it's like, where you feel like your hope is crushed. Like, what happened? What did I miss, God? I had the faith. I had the belief there. Like, where did I go wrong, And so that was the moment right here in this film. It was a few moments in this film that I said that you're just broken down and you're crying, tears are rolling down your face, but it's good tears, because you feel it. You feel that connection with this character, and you're even more invested into this film, right? And so Emily does kind of sell at this point that this is going to be a permanent thing right now, and that is so difficult, because I'm like, wow, like, you spent your whole life, all your childhood years, most of your adult years at this point, used to seeing, used to relying on that sense of your visuals and your eyesight. I mean, can you imagine all of a sudden one of your senses being taken away permanently? How do you function? And it's like you have to learn to live all over again. You have to grow all over again and build your life all over again. And that's what Emily is going through the majority of this film. After this point, rebuilding her life. And what does that look like? And this film does a good job of showing us that it's not cookie cutter here. It is showing us the challenges. It's showing us that this character is going through this roller coaster of emotions. At some point, she has good moments, and then there are other times where she feels crushed. She feels like there's no point. Why? I tried already. I can't do this. And you have to know that this character here had an amazing job that she loved. She was well loved on her job. And having to learn to kind of deal with that. Her first thought is, let me just resign because I can't get around the way that I used to, or any of those types of things. So right now she's kind of living with her fiance at this point there, and she's feeling around, learning where things are and all of that, and trying to be independent even still in this condition. And her fiance is not necessarily helping as much as he could help. At least that's how I feel. He's mostly focused on work and that type of things, I guess. And maybe in his mind, he's thinking, I gotta provide. The income has to keep coming in. Life doesn't stop because of this particular thing that has happened. And so I'm giving him that room. I'm giving him that much. And so when Emily kind of had this situation at home where she was feeling around for, a can of soda and some chips, and she tripped over something that he left over the floor, and her mom happens to come over later on that day, and she's cleaning up, and when her fiance returns home, feeling all good, like his life hasn't changed and he's doing fine. The only thing is Emily just dealing with everything, and her mom is like pull her fiance aside and is totally going off on him in a very nice, nasty kind of way. Like she's getting her point across, but she's not being like using foul language or anything, and she's like trying to let him know this is serious. This is her daughter well-being here. Like he has to, don't leave stuff on the floor and all it is. This, y'all have to get used to. This is a new way of living for the both of you, and you have to participate. You have to be willing to be there for her. And so her mom decides, like, brings it up to Emily, I think it's best that you come stay with me, because she's not in a position to keep driving way over there to their home. She's like, at least if you're here at my place, round the clock attention and all of that. And Emily talks it over with her fiance. He automatically agreed a little bit too fast for me. Okay, it's like you want to get rid of her or something. That's at least how I felt. But moving on, right? Okay. And so Emily does decide to go live with her mom, but you can see the tears rolling down her face because she's like, I can just imagine her thoughts. How did I end up back here? Me, independent, having my own job, managing other people, doing my thing, living like overachiever here, like I said, and now I'm back under my mom's roof, underneath my mom's care. I have to have my mom do pretty much everything for me all over again. And so you can imagine the just the emotions that she's going through, but she deals with it. She's like, I have no other choice. Like, my fiance can't really be there for me like that. He has to work and different things, so I have to do this. And she starts little by little accepting it, but at the same time, as she's accepting it, her hope is being totally drained from her. She's starting to feel like she's useless. What else can she do? This is like it, and just totally dependent on someone else to kind of guide her and do everything for her. And her mom starts to see that hope slipping away, and knowing how strong her daughter is, she's like, no, like, she has to start to make some moves, even just a little bit, try a little bit, do a little bit something different. Okay, you've been all cooped up in this house all of this time. Sit outside on the porch, take little baby steps, but you can't just sit there. You still are alive, so that means there's still life in you. You have to push forth. You have to keep going, even if you take little baby steps every day, but do something, unless you do nothing at all, right? And so I love that push that her mom does, even though I know it probably hurts her, because it's kind of hurting your daughter to step out and try to do something for herself. But that's what she needs. Most likely you may not be around, so who's going to take care of your daughter like that? What, her fiance? He's just a fiance. Who knows if he even make it to hubby status? You know what I'm saying? And so one day, Emily's taking little steps, and she's feeling a little bit better. Out of nowhere, I ain't gonna say out of nowhere like that, but her fiance sits with her outside, and she lets him know in that moment, because she had in a previous encounter with someone else, and she lets him know that it hit her, that maybe he's probably feeling guilty. Maybe that's why he's acting a little bit strange, a little bit distant. Maybe he feels guilty that he's the cause of putting her in this situation, right? And so she lets him know that he doesn't have to feel guilty. She doesn't blame him for the accident. She's gonna get through this. Like, please don't feel guilty. And as she's saying this, and she can't see him, right? But we, as the audience, can see him, as the viewers can see him. And the look on his face, he looks like, okay, thank you. I'm glad that you feel that way, but I know I ain't to blame for this. I haven't felt not a pinch of guilt. What's going on with you? I'm good. And that was the whole vibe that you got off of him. And I felt some kind of way. I was like, thank goodness she can't see him. And here she is thinking in her condition, thinking about your emotional state, how you may be feeling right now. And you're sitting up there, Mr. I just did not like that, because yes, in a sense, you're not to blame. It's not like you did it on purpose, but it kind of was your fault. If there's any human being on this earth to blame, if you want to kind of place any kind of blame, it should be you, because Emily, that wasn't even her choice for you to climb that particular area. You wasn't even that experienced or skilled as of yet, and yet she stepped out on faith and try to let you take a little bit of lead and do your thing, and here you are with this smug look on your face. And finally, when Emily was done saying that, and you could tell it was something that he was there for much more than a visit, like he usually shows up to, you know, spend a little bit of time with her and everything. You could tell he had something that he wanted to express to her. And she's like, what is it? Like, she can kind of feel it. Y'all know you can kind of feel that something in the air. You don't even got to see it, okay? You just know something is coming. And that's how she felt in this moment. And so here go Mr. Fiance talking about he finally got the promotion that he's been wanting. She's like, oh, great. This is good news. This is amazing. And he's like, but they want him to go to Tokyo. And it's going to be 2 years. She's like, what? I can't just up and leave and move to Tokyo. I have my job. And she has, you know, she's trying to get over this hurdle in her life right now. She's not sure what's going to go on with her and how she's going to maneuver through life. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, that's when it hits her. Like, you already have plans to go without me. And I was like, and she's like, I can't even talk to you right now. She turned around. She's like, just leave, just leave. She just can't even deal with it right now. And I just felt some kind of way. And he walked up. He left. He didn't even try to stick there and fight this out, talk with her about it, comfort her or anything, because this is kind of your fault. And here she is with all of this stuff going on. She's dealing with the majority of this. And he basically, in a sense, broke up with her at her hardest point in her life, rock bottom. And it just reminded you how cruel people can be, how cruel the world can be. They can see you at your rock bottom, see you at the worst of the worst way, and even contribute to putting you there, and would easily get up and walk off like you didn't even matter at all, and move on with their next adventure. And I just felt like, wow, can this lady take any more hardship than she already has taken? And so on the other end of all of this going on, we have this sweet puppy named Garth. And the name Garth just fit him, which I thought that was pretty cool. It just fit him. Cute dog that's being trained to be a guide dog. And what I thought was so cute about this is we can hear the dog's thoughts, like he's kind of narrating his own journey. When he first meet Emily as a pup, he automatically connected with her, and he never saw her again until he was like, well, he saw her. Well, oh, and I love this. It was so powerful that this dog said, right? When he first met Emily as a pup, he connected with her, and he was like, that was like the first time that he's ever seen Emily, but it was going to be the last time that Emily saw him. And that hit me strong. I was like, oh my goodness, like seriously? And so while he goes off on his journey learning to be a guide dog, and he ends up crossing Emily's path numerous occasions. Well, it had a few occasions. Of course, she didn't really know, but he always recognized her, and he always knew, he felt in his little doggy heart that he was going to be her guide. He was going to be her eyes. He felt like that. He can sense her sadness. One day he saw her in a restaurant with her fiance. He sensed the sadness in her. And I was like, wow, it was just so nice to hear the dog's perspective, his voice, and, you know, his story as he's going on his own journey. So yes, Emily, throughout the course of her her experience right here. She lost her eyesight and different things like that. Was so much lost on her end, and on the other end with this little dog, this puppy, and growing up to be a guide dog, we can see that he's going over his own different hurdles to be the guide for Emily, and to see their path connect and cross again. It was such a beautiful thing. That's one of the highlights of this film. That was like, oh, that made it worth it, y'all. Hallmark, y'all was gentle with my heart, because it was only so much that I could take. Only so much that I could take, y'all, okay? Y'all know I be crying, I be sensitive, okay? But overall, this is such a sweet, adorable film. It had, like I said, a lot of heartbreak, but it also had a lot of laughter. It had a lot of smiles. It had a lot of hope. And I hope that's what this film gives you all. That no matter what you're going through in life, however it looks, whatever loss it may entail, that it's going to be okay. That yes, God is our guide. Yes, like Emily, God sent her Garth, this dog, and that was so much, and I felt like that was so much representation there, that I looked at it like that. I looked at it like, yes, she in a sense lost her eyesight, but she still was able to see through this guide. And that's how I feel like with our journey with the Lord. We can't see everything. There's only so much we can see. Our eyesight is so limited in comparison to what the Lord can see, and we need him to guide us through this journey of life. And we can know that he's always going to be there. That like this dog here in this film, he sensed Emily's emotion, her sadness, and he wanted to just bring, like he said at the end of this film, that he became Emily's eyes, but Emily became his world. And that's how it is for us in the Lord. Like, we need him to guide us, to instruct us in the way that we should go, to order our steps, direct our paths. And we are his world. We are the apple of his eye. So yes, y'all, it was wonderful. Y'all gotta watch it. And if you have watched it, let me know in the comment section below, how did you feel about it and your whole journey? What did you see? What insight did you want to share? All of that. But before I leave y'all for today, we go ahead and get into the scripture, and we're coming out of Proverbs 17:17, and it reads, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversities." So that's all I have for y'all for this video. Thank y'all all for watching, for the support. Even if you just quickly stop by and you just leave a little hi, love, I was here, you know, all of that. I appreciate whatever. I appreciate every like, every comment, every subscription. I appreciate just you showing up, being your wonderful, beautiful self. So until next time, may the Lord bless and keep you both now and forevermore.